What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you joining me for the very first time today, my name is kathyyrenee and welcome to the show. And I'm going to be doing something really different this video. I'm going to be putting on makeup and also discussing a crime story for the very first time. I know this is a concept that Bailey Sarian has, Danielle Kirsty has, and also Brittney Vaughn has. Now, I want to just address the issues of what I have going on in my city, Miami, Florida. That's where I'm from, that's where I was raised, and also there's some stories that people don't really talk about here, or in Florida in general. But anyways, with that being said, I just want to start a new series just to bring awareness and also not have, you know, really messed up things happening. And also we got to be alert and cautious of who we allow in our lives, or who we let into our lives, or, you know, we got to be, if you see something, you got to say something. But anyways, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead with the story now. So this morbid story is going to be about Baby Lollipop, also known as Lazaro Figueroa. So let's get this going. Even though we look like this, we're still looking cute. So this story begins on November the 2nd of 1990. A toddler was found dead by the Florida Power and Light Crew, also known as the FPL. And later on, a medical examiner determined that the child had been dead less than 24 hours. And then the police nicknamed the child Baby Lollipops because he was wearing a t-shirt with little lollipops on it. And according to the police, Baby Lollipops was unidentified for more than a month later. Then afterwards, Baby Lollipops was later identified as Lazaro Figueroa. And right now we're gonna go ahead and talk about Anna Cardona. She's involved in here. I want to go into the background so that way we can have a little bit of an understanding as to what had happened. Now, according to court documents, she was born on November the 26th of 1961, which makes her a Sagittarius, I think. And then, not that it means anything, but I'm just throwing that fact out there. She was born in Cuba, and it is said that she dropped out of school at an early age. The only grade that she completed was the 4th grade, and she grew up without her father, and she quote unquote suffered emotional rejection from her mother. Now, there's not a lot of information about her parents, and it is also said that she was sexually and emotionally abused as a child. It is also stated that she was sexually abused at home of a teacher, which is not cool. You know, I think back then it was okay to leave children with adults because they're like, oh, it's an adult, they know what they're doing. But honestly, you never know a true intentions of a person. And unfortunately, it is still being done in these days. And I'm guessing due to that incident, she attempted suicide more than a few times. And she came to Miami, Florida in the 1980s, and there's no accurate information on exactly when. And here's when it gets a little confusing, well, at least for me. It is said that she already came with her son already pregnant from a previous relationship, and it is also said that she came with her son as he was a little boy. She then meets Figueroa, who is well off due to the affiliation of being with a cartel. And Figueroa shows Anna a fast-paced, rich lifestyle filled with partying and drugs. And some of the documents were not specific, but it is said that she and Fidel had a little girl together while raising her 7-year-old son at the time. Then she became pregnant with another child with Fidel Figueroa. Later on, he's murdered, and there's not a lot of information on that. Anna later then gives birth to a little baby boy on September the 16th of 1987, which makes him a Virgo. I'm gonna go ahead and cut my crease, and I'll be right back. So the little baby boy's name is Lazaro Figueroa, and after Fidel Figueroa's murder, it is said that he left Anna very valuable assets. However, the money did not last very long due to her partying a lot and also spending the money on drugs. There were some witnesses that say that our Anna would leave her kids with numerous caretakers for days at a time, and she wouldn't contact them to check if they were okay. And the caretakers would describe Lazaro as a very happy baby that loved to dance, and they noticed that he was very skinny and very malnourished, and they would constantly feed him to quote unquote fatten him up. And when Lazaro would go back to Anna, he would be at a better weight. And there was an incident with one of the caretakers. The caretaker's name at that time was Carlos Lima. Carlos Lima, it's not really specific on what had happened with Lazaro, but Lazaro needed medical attention, and he did the right thing. He contacted Anna Cardona, and she didn't respond. So he went ahead, took initiative, took Lazaro to the hospital, and then Carlos later contacted the HRS, which I'm assuming at the time was like the Department of Children and Families at that time. Well, anyways, that department removed the children from Anna Cardona. Carlos Lima then later stated that he called HRS because Anna did not care for her children properly, and she was indifferent with Lazaro. Carlos Lima then got temporary custody of the children, and it's not said exactly when he got custody of the children. Carlos Lima then later testified that he took care of Lazaro several times during the night, and Anna would leave her children with him and she would disappear for days. Carlos would then call her and she would curse at him for disturbing her. In November of 1988, the children were later returned to Anna, and as the children returned to her, I guess she had already met Olivia Gonzalez, or maybe I don't know, it doesn't say exactly when she met her, but she was with Olivia Gonzalez, and the only information that we have on Olivia Gonzalez was that she met Anna at a nightclub. And then another source of information that we only have is that Olivia and Anna were romantically involved, and they had lived with the children, and they moved around constantly from cheap motels in Miami. And in one document that I found, it is said that Olivia had a job and she began to pay for the support of the defendant, which is Anna, and the children. And then both Anna and Olivia were getting by. They would take on various jobs, and they also shoplifted. During this time, it is said that Lazaro was getting beaten, starved, confined, emotionally abused and tortured. And then Olivia stated, like, in court, that she participated in the beatings because it, quote unquote, pleased Anna. And then also in documents, they would also, according to the documents, they would also wrap duct tape around his diaper and in order to hold in the excrement for as long as possible to avoid changing him. Imagine being a baby and, like, I don't know, that just freaking sucks, man. Because, like, obviously, you know, if we need to go to the bathroom, we go to the bathroom, we relieve ourselves, we clean ourselves, and we feel great, right? So imagine this little baby, like, you know, he wasn't taught any of that, and he wasn't properly cared for, so poor thing never, like, experienced, you know, cleanliness. Poor thing. So Lazaro spent most of his time tied to a bed, left in a bathtub with hot or cold water. He was also left locked in a closet. And there was a witness. His name was Fred Quintero. At that time, he had worked at the Olympia Motel in 1989, where Anna and Olivia Gonzalez and the children were living at that time. And Fred Quintero stated on one incident that Lazaro was in the corner and he looked scared. He also stated that Lazaro's mattress had been urinated and it smelled. In addition, he stated that he saw on multiple occasions that Anna would drag Lazaro onto the stairs, and Fred quoted, his legs were bouncing off the steps. He then also stated that Anna would discipline Lazaro by beating him severely. He also stated that he saw Anna be very affectionate towards her daughter and never to Lazaro. And then, according to another witness, Cristina Quintero, which is the wife of Fred Quintero, she would sometimes pick Fred up from work, and while she would wait for Fred in the lobby, she said that she saw Lazaro on one occasion. And for the very first time, she heard screams, and she saw Anna Cardona pulling a skinny, filthy child, which would be Lazaro. And she also stated that she was so troubled by seeing Anna Cardona pulling Lazaro that she would go outside and wait for her husband. And she stated that she cannot bear the sight of the abuse. Now this is where I started to get a little agitated, because if you see that abuse, like, why didn't you say anything? I mean, what happened to saying what happened to, if you see something, report it? Like, you couldn't stand the sight, but guess what? Lazaro, he couldn't stand the beatings. That's why he was screaming. Just in case you didn't know that, Miss Quintero. Just in case. Dumb bitch. But anyways, another witness, Carla Ventrana, her and her husband stayed at the Olympia Motel for a short time when their car broke down. The couple had no money, and Anna had invited them over for something to eat. Carla then saw Lazaro, and she noticed that he had been confined and not allowed to move around. Carla then saw Anna punch Lazaro in the back and also pull his hair. She later took Lazaro into the bathroom. Carla could not see what was going on, but she had heard some screams. The couple left and immediately called the HRS. Unfortunately, there was no document saying unfortunately, there was no document stating that anything was ever done to help or save Lazaro. I'm gonna go ahead and do my liner, so I'll be right back. In September and October of 1990, Anna and Olivia rented an efficiency from the Piloto family. And during that time, the Piloto family didn't nobody claimed from that family to ever see or ever heard of Lazaro in that household, and that he had remained hidden in that small room, and only the children were seen and heard. And according to Olivia, on October the 31st of 1990, Anna beat Lazaro with a baseball bat after splitting his head open. She then locked the little boy into the closet where he had been confined for the last 2 months of his life. The next day, on November the 1st of 1990, Olivia Gonzalez opened the closet door. Lazaro began to scream, and she attempted to threaten him with the bat. I mean, I don't blame the little boy because he's fucking scared of her. He's scared of his own mother. Like, who would do such a thing, really? Like, this is where the system failed him. So Lazaro saw his mom. He yelled. She then grabbed a bat, and then she grabbed the bat from Olivia Gonzalez, and then Olivia left the room. And then when she had returned to the room, she said that Anna had told her that she believed that she killed Lazaro. And Anna and Olivia dressed Lazaro, and they took him to a Miami Beach residence and had abandoned him in the bushes. And then that's where he was later found dead on November the 2nd of 1990. And then when Anna had learned that Lazaro had been found, Olivia, Anna, and the children had fled to the Orlando area near St. Cloud, where they were later arrested on December the 6th of 1990. And Anna had told the police several consistent stories. One of the stories was that she had claimed Lazaro had fallen off and injured himself, and she was stating that she couldn't revive him, so she took him to a Miami Beach residence so that people could take care of him. Like, what does she think? Like Miami Beach, like, owning a house there is really nice and all, but what did you think? Like, a rich person was gonna be like, oh my god, I'll charge for the bushes? Like, you really think that's gonna happen? You didn't think that one through. Of course, I mean, hitting somebody in the head with a baseball bat isn't thinking things through either. And then Olivia Gonzalez herself was extremely inconsistent with her stories. Olivia stated that Lazaro pissed off Anna because he couldn't get off his diaper, so she pissed him off. He pissed her off, and it's like, I'm sorry, like, I understand that having a toddler it can be a handful, but first of all, what toddler takes off their diaper? And if they do, I think that, I don't know. If they do, obviously they feel discomfort, so like, okay, let me go ahead and take it off. Normal, I would definitely understand that, but it's like, if they're taking too long, like, what the hell? So what if they're taking too long? They're freaking toddlers. Are gonna, they're not gonna do a perfect job. They're gonna take their time. They're freaking toddlers. And then you don't think that, you don't think it's taking a while too, because he's freaking scared all the time too. So you don't think that he's scared to take it off because he's gonna be like, oh shit. And let's say in a perfect world he took it off right on time. I think that Anna was so messed up in the head that she would have found an excuse like, oh, he took it off a type of way, or, you know, it still beat him. So I'm not saying that's what he was thinking, but he's freaking scared at this point. Alright, so as a result of poor Lazaro taking his cute little baby time, taking off his diaper, it pissed off Anna, and then Anna beat him on the head with a baseball bat. And then she had said that his head cracked open, he was bleeding a lot, and she claimed to put mercury on it and applied a plastic band. And then another inconsistent story was that she came home, she hadn't noticed anything unusual with Lazaro because he was always tied in the closet, because that's just a way to live your life, you know, confined, beaten in a freaking closet. That's just fucking great. And then when she had came home, I mean, I guess after she had, you know, made that little realization, she went ahead and took the kids out to trick or treating. And she said that when she came back, everything was normal. And then another story was that he fell off the bed and hit his head. And in the report, it was not stated, and it wasn't very specific as well. And it also said that Olivia went to go take a bath, and as she was taking a bath, the blow to the head happened. And I guess when she was done, she had then saw that Lazaro was dead, and she tried to revive him. And then she stated that when Anna and Olivia were driving home or driving around to drop him off the Miami Beach residencies, she had suggested or made an offer like, hey, let's take him to the hospital. And I guess Anna didn't listen. And then Olivia did admit that she lied about Lazaro jumping on the bed and hitting his head. She had also stated that she and Lazaro were emotionally and physically abused on the daily. And then later on she goes on to say that she was quote unquote under pressure because she did not know what she was saying and that she was frightened. And just a fun fact, you know who else was frightened and scared for his little life? You guessed it, it was Lazaro. So a little fun fact I wanted to throw there just in case anybody didn't pick it up. Just kidding, I know you guys picked it up. I'm just being sarcastic at this point because it just really pisses me off, like the audacity of people, of, you know. It's like, you know what the right thing to do is, you know what you're doing is very wrong, but then, and it is also stated that Lazaro's injuries through an autopsy, sorry about that, through an autopsy, it was stated that Lazaro's injuries, it was stated that Lazaro had months of injuries endured all over his body. He had a total of 41 injuries, culminating during his prior to his death, I'm sorry. His growth and also his weight was below average for a child his age. And every part of his body was in pain for days, weeks, and even months until the time of his death. He was also malnourished, and it made the pain even worse and caused a delay in the healing process. And as a result of that, he was never given any proper medical attention, and his body had multiple infections. And it would have been painful for him to eat because his frenulum was ripped. And the frenulum that we're talking about is the little skin that's like the top gum on top of your teeth behind this lip over here. I'm not going to show you because I don't know, we're not here for demonstrations, but yeah, that was ripped. Poor kid. And he had no front teeth, and his left arm was ossified at a 90-degree angle, so it looked like it was like a cast. I mean, if you can see here, it was like, I guess it was like this is 90 degrees, and he would not have been able to extend his arm, and his legs were asymmetric, meaning his left leg was bigger because it had blood accumulation resulting from the blunt injury to the leg. So it would have been super painful for him even if he had tried to walk. So that little story that Anna and Olivia tried to say that, hey, he was jumping on the bed, it would have been super impossible for him to even move a little toe or something. And also the main injury that had occurred on October the 31st had caused him to come in and out of consciousness until he died on November the 1st. Lazaro was wearing a diaper wrapped with duct tape, and the diaper was so soiled that the excrement made a cast around him. And then you can read more about it on the documents. I'm gonna go ahead and list it or link it down below. It's just if you're interested. If not, it's just really bad, like the abuse that had occurred and what he had to endure. And then I guess the person that was doing the autopsy, he had also tested some like specimen that had been found on him, and it was saying that they had found traces of insecticide, herbicides, and a type of a sedative drug. Poor kid. And then both women, Anna and Olivia, were charged with aggravated child abuse and the first-degree murder. And on September the 14th of 1992, Olivia changed her plea to not guilty and admitted to the abuse for a reduced charge of a second-degree murder and child abuse, and agreed to testify against Anna. And in Olivia's defense, she was a battered spouse trying to seek the approval of Anna. And according to court documents, they were claiming that Olivia had dependent personality disorder. So that means that she wasn't allowed to make her own decisions and she needed someone else's approval. And then Olivia was stating that she was scared of Anna Cardona because she had threatened Olivia that she was going to tell her mom that she was a lesbian, and Olivia didn't want that to happen because she was afraid to, quote unquote, lose her mother's love. And then she also claimed that she was an unwanted child when compared to her brother and sister, and as a result of that, she was constantly seeking approval of others. And because of this, she had lacked strength of character to leave. And I don't think that's true, because, okay, so you were seeking approval all the time. You lacked affection, but you don't want to lose your mother's love. I'm sorry, it does not make sense. It is two different. You're saying that you lacked attention from your mom, but then you don't want to lose affection from your mom. That doesn't make any sense. And whoever freaking agreed to this, whoever was on the jury, I'm sorry, jury is stupid. They should have fucking found her guilty. And Olivia was also stating that she was a victim in the relationship who would fight back and never win. And on September the 31st of 1992, Anna was found guilty on both charges, and the jury voted on the death penalty. And according to Anna Cardona's defense, they were trying to say that she was under the influence of extreme mental and emotional disturbance due to her fall from riches to rags and her daily use of cocaine. She then later filed a direct appeal in Florida, and in that appeal she tried to argue that there was evidence of the abuse, but that the jury refused to see it. I mean, I'm sorry, but the evidence, I'm sorry, like, okay? I'm sorry, but the evidence is, unfortunately, he's in a body bag, okay? So that's the evidence, and it was caused by that fucking bitch. So really, that's the evidence. And then they were also trying to say that she had a good background now, that she was a good character, and she had the ability to adjust to the jail setting and just about anything. And apparently she had like remorse now, and I'm sorry, just because you feel bad, just because you have like a change of heart, just because you're doing good, doesn't excuse your heinous actions. I mean, if you feel some type of remorse and you know what you did is wrong, you're going to admit that you're gonna accept the consequences to your actions. You're going to admit, hey, you know what, I did wrong, so let me go ahead and, you know, pay my time. And I'm sorry, if you feel that you did wrong, but then you still want to go out and about, I'm sorry, like, that's just, to me, that's wrong. But anyways, that was denied, thank God. And then Anna was also trying to raise the issue that Olivia Gonzalez had gotten a shorter sentence, and I'm sorry, but I actually agree with her on that one. Like, I don't understand why she got a lesser sentence, because to me, in my eyes, she was just as guilty. Also, Anna's defense team were trying to say that she was quoted incompetent. I do agree to that to that point, because you're very stupid for trying to file an appeal knowing that you're 100% wrong. I definitely agree with her on that, but she wasn't incompetent enough to not beat somebody. I'm just gonna stop right there because I'm getting freaking livid. But as of right now, there's not, you know, Olivia is out and about, released from jail. There's not a lot of information on where she's at right now. And I'm guessing that she changed her name. I mean, good for her, because honestly, like, what she did was really messed up, and she would have had like people after her. And according to Anna Cardona's children, remember she had 2 kids, a little boy and a little girl. Their names were never mentioned, which is good. I mean, you wouldn't want anybody to mention anything. Okay, so remember the little boy that she had when she first came to the States. His name was Juan Puentes, and unfortunately he was serving a 10-year sentence in a penitentiary in Florida, and then he had passed away. There was no reporting as to how and why that had happened. And as for the little girl that she had, there's like nothing stating as to what had happened to her. And I'm guessing that she changed her identity, which I don't blame her. Like, knowing that my own mother freaking beat the living shit, literally beat the living shit out of a sibling of mine, I wouldn't want anything to do with her either. Like, but anyways, yeah, so that's that story. I'm gonna go ahead and finish everything else, and then we're gonna go ahead and come back and talk about it. So that, ladies and gentlemen, or however you identify yourself as, was the morbid story of baby Lollipop, also known as Lazaro Figueroa. And this is a really sad story, it really is. And poor kid, in my opinion, the poor kid was failed by the system twice. The actual system, the H, whatever they call themselves, the Department of Children and Families, I'm just gonna call it that because that's how we call it now. And also by the freaking court system, they let that woman, Olivia Rodriguez, or Gonzalez, whatever the fuck her name is, out and about, and she's allowed to live her life. She's allowed to change her identity, and that's really messed up, and that's not fair. And Lazaro was also failed by those witnesses that couldn't bear the sight or didn't do anything, and it's just really wrong. Like, all of this is wrong what happened. But anyways, let me know your thoughts and opinions. But anyways, even though this was not like the best story, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a nice day. and stay morbid.